Welcome into another episode of the Bulldog Blitz. I'm Gerhard Mathingani, joined in by the head coach of the Anniston Bulldogs, Eddie Bullock. And Coach came up on the short end of the stick at Aniana, 27-7. Talk about just the overall play of the game. I know that at this point of the season, you're trying to get your players motivated and involved to play well towards the end of the season, this little stretch run in this very improved region.
Well, we played a tough game. Guys played hard, and we just came up a little bit short. Had a few too many penalties, but overall, I was pleased with the way the guys played.
You talk every week about how 4A Region 5 has improved just about every team, and I feel like this team might be one of those same teams that have made those monster improvements over the last maybe 2 or 3 years.
Well, we got an opportunity to play a lot of the younger guys, which was the plan anyway, and those guys got some valuable game reps, which is hard to simulate in practice. So, I was pleased with how well they played. We made a few mistakes, but Aniana played a great game, and they deserve to get the win.
Had the game at your place last year, went to their place this year. Talk about just the atmosphere. Obviously, Aniana's, I think, it's like the most winningest program in the state of Alabama as far as overall wins for the school going back through history. What was it like playing over there in St. Clair County?
Well, it's kind of a small enclosed field. It's kind of sit on top of a hill, and basically, we just used to going there. I've only been there maybe 2 or 3 times since I've been coaching. Just a great atmosphere, and we're just glad to get an opportunity to play there.
Absolutely. As you get some of your younger guys some playing time, some experience, what are some of the things that you're telling them as they go through these last couple of games of the season and as they start to build for next year?
Well, just to work on technique. I always preach to my team about talent versus technique. They always hear that phrase about them having a lot of talent, and talent is fine, but, you can't win games with talent alone. You got to have guys that are technique sound, and, I try to teach them that if, we can balance the technique side of it with the talent that, we would move to an elite status, and that's just part of it, just teaching them to do their assignments and work on fundamentals of the game.
And for sure, physicality is another one of those things because the Sachs game was really physical, played a physical Hoax Bluff team, and the same, I'm guessing, with Aniana as well.
Right. We hadn't had any problems as far as being physical, as far as conditioning and weight training and all of that. I think we got that side pretty much conquered, but, we have to work more on the fundamental side, understanding, when the ball comes to you, what your assignment is, when the ball goes away, what your assignment is, and as far as reading keys, we got a lot of guys that, that hadn't quite sunk in yet, but, that's one of the main things we focusing on.
Absolutely, and they'll continue to learn. Coming up next here on the Bulldog Blitz, we'll have first half highlights. We'll also take a look at Anniston's Week 10 opponent in Fort Payne. All that and more is coming up next here on the Bulldog Blitz. Welcome back to the Bulldog Blitz on TV 24. Coach, this is first half highlights of your game at Aniana. Talk about some of the things you wanted to see early on.
Well, we won the toss, and we decided to defer. Kicked off to them and got some great coverage there. You see Demetrius Thomas makes a tackle, and, basically they ran the power. They moved number 5. This kid played receiver. They moved him in a wildcat set and ran the power. And, we pretty much stuffed it out. For the most part, see the defense fly into the football. We actually forced them on the 4 down out on that particular series. And right here you see Jacquez Maynard. We kind of hit him on a bubble screen. And, we had some things clicking right there. You see K. O'Neal, he catches a short pass. We kept the chains moving. Right there you see Taiwan Spadell. He runs the football pretty hard right there. And, we were without Jamari West, he didn't play, and we were without J.B. Carlisle, which is the starting running back. So we had 2 starters out, and there was an opportunity to get these guys some valuable reps. And right there you see K. O'Neal making a great reception there. We got out in the end zone, and we went to him twice. On the second time he ran, we were supposed to run a cross and fade route, and he actually ran the wrong route. So on that particular touchdown, you seen Savion counter scramble to the end zone score, and we converted on the PAT. And we came back, and right here you can see us wrapping up, made some pretty good plays. we kind of got out of gap integrity a couple of times, and you know, we were catching on tackles, and you know, they started getting in tight formations, and you know, we actually allowed them to move the football down the field. On this particular series right here, they had a couple of good inside runs. You know, we stuffed them on a couple of plays, but they got a couple of good inside runs, and I believe right here you can see we kind of got out of gap integrity, and they were able to score up the middle and tie the score up, and we came back, and you know, right here again, you see Taiwan Spot there. He's a junior. He's going to be a great player for us next year. He makes a great run, filling in for JB. Did a great job all night, but we kind of stalled on the play, and we turned the ball over on downs, and we actually, once again, we kind of let them, within the last few seconds, kind of push the ball up the field and get good field position, and they came back, and of course you see here they completed a pass. You know, I was 4th down, 4th and 13, I believe, and one of the outside linebackers didn't cover, and you can actually see here we were in man-to-man coverage, but the cornerback was looking in the backfield, and he kind of got caught with his eyes in the wrong place, and they were able to score with maybe 13 seconds left on the clock. So, you know, the score was not indicative of how, you know, the actual first half went.
Right, and they got the score there at the very end. And I would think that especially on defense and really on offense and being able to come up with some plays, you're pleased with that first half performance.
Well, I was pleased with it, but, you know, as I mentioned earlier, you know, teaching guys about technique, you know, they had a wide split. And normally on a wide split, we play press man. We, you know, take the inside route away, and we make them run one route so they only have one direction. Right. And my cornerback had communicated with the safety and called a banjo call, and that just simply means they're going to swap guys if they cross. But on wide splits, we don't do that. So he actually got caught looking in the backfield, and they were able to convert, whereas, you know, that shouldn't have happened.
Right. And I'm sure at halftime those things are good teachable things that you can say, hey, look, this communication breakdown led to this play right here.
Right. I was a little upset initially, you know, and then as we were going out, I kind of asked him, you know, what happened on the play, and he told me he made a banjo call. And at that point, once he said that, I understood why he did what he did, but it still was the wrong call, you know. We normally make a banjo call on tight alignment or when the receivers are generally stacked. But when they have a wide split, there's no need to make a combo call like that. You know, you have your man and the other DB have his man.
Absolutely.
And, you know, just a teaching point.
Absolutely. How was it physicality-wise, being able to see them up front instead of seeing them on film, being able to see them at the line of scrimmage, how big they were, the physicality and all that stuff that you get on the initial impressions there in the first half?
Well, they were about what we expected. You know, we knew they were not going to be as fast as we were, and you know, they wasn't as big as we were. You know, we felt like that, you know, what we had saw on film that, you know, pretty much is what we seen out on the football field, and we were prepared for it.
Does that go for the play calling as well and just what they did schematically?
Right. We knew that they were going to try to run. You know, most teams try to run the power straight at us because, you know, they'll give you some kind of motion or some kind of zone read or some kind of wide formation to get linebackers out the box. But, you know, generally when I run my stack defense, I don't move the guys out the box because it's a balanced formation.
Right. Coming up next here on the Bulldog Blitz, we'll have second half highlights. We'll also look ahead to the Week 10 opponent in the season finale against Fort Payne. Coming up next here, though, we'll take a listen to the Anderson High School Marching Band from their performance Friday night at Aniana. We're back here on the Bulldog Blitz, second half highlights. Coach, you got the ball. Talk about some of the things you want to see here in the third quarter.
Well, we wanted to kind of actually punch the first one in. We got a little short pooch kick to K. O'Neal, and he kind of got running a little bit sideways, and we actually made a couple of good runs here, but a couple of penalties cost us, and had to get the ball back, and right there you can see it's one of the 10th graders, Jordan Felder. He lost containment on the outside and allowed the quarterback to get outside, and whereas they would have been punting the football, we ended up letting them get a first down, but we eventually held them, later on down there. Right here you see we got a good return and from Darren Parker, but right before him, we got a block in the back, and we got it called back, so that changed the field position. And of course, you see here again, Jaquez Maynard, we threw a bubble screen to him, and he made a great catch. And we came back and we put Tyree Carmichael in, just to give him some reps, sophomore quarterback, and he threw an interception there, and that kind of hurt us. And we gave up big chunk of yardage on this particular play, and right here we just lost gap integrity. Linebackers in the middle just got out, and they were able to score on us there. Basically, we just lost gap integrity, and maybe a minute, almost 2 minutes before the half. And of course here they kicked the ball again to Jaquez, and you can see here he got a great field position once again. It's a great run by him, great effort run right there by him, but we ended up turning the ball over on downs, based on some penalties. And of course you can see us moving the football here again, and we came back right here, and we actually was just scrambling to the football, made a couple of good plays right here. We came in and we were able to stuff them right there, and I believe on the next play we thought we had a fumble. Made a couple of good tackles, stuffed them, and they came back, and we was in man-to-man coverage again. We just gave a little bit too much room right there. They ran a corner route and was able to score on us on that particular play there. Normally we would press them again. Right here you can see Taiwan Spadea makes a great run again. We were able to move the football when we got ready. Right here we had an opportunity on a deep route to see DJ Hall. He's a sophomore, makes a fantastic catch. Of course we come back and we tried to go deep to K. O'Neal again, and we underthrew him, and they were able to pick their football off, and basically just knelt on the ball and ran a timeout. So, that was pretty much the gist of the game.
27-7, your final score from Aniana. And Coach, you talked earlier about having a couple players out, and that was really the story of the year last year at this point. Lots of players were out as far as with injuries, and this time too. And this time was playmakers, guys like the guys that you've been relying on for most of the season, guys like J.B. Carlisle and others. Talk about some of the players that stepped in and filled those positions.
Well, we had Taiwan Spadea. He stepped in at running back for J.B. Carlisle, and he did a great job. I think he ended up rushing for maybe 66 yards or something like that, but that's fantastic for his first time getting in. And, of course, he didn't get an opportunity to play last year. And then we had Jamari West out, so therefore we were able to get DJ Hall in, who's a sophomore, and we even played Tyree Carmichael at a little wide receiver, just to get him some reps. But we had two guys, and anytime you have starters out, it always changes the dynamics of your offense and all. But, it's just part of football. You just got to, next man up, you got to play.
Absolutely, and next man up is usually a younger guy. Talk about those players being able to get this kind of game experience.
Well, it's good in a sense because they get valuable reps for the upcoming year. And you always want to get those guys an opportunity to get those kind of reps because it's hard to simulate that in practice, unless you just got, a go-getter, a guy that just goes hard all the time. And, it's just always valuable when you go against another team and they're getting live reps.
And I'm pretty sure for those younger guys, the old adage is you practice, you play the way that you practice.
Right.
And you're able to show them both sides that, hey, we talked about this in practice, and this is the way I executed in the game.
Right. Well, I try to teach them, we go out and practice sometime, and we'll be nonchalant, and, sometimes I have to give them punishment running to perk them up. But I tell them on Friday nights, that team across the line of scrimmage is going to perk you up because they're coming to beat you. They have a goal in mind, and the team that has that one single-minded focus is a team usually that's going to be successful, and that's part of coaching is teaching them how to go out to practice and, how to be prepared for games, have that mindset where you go out and, I'm going to leave it all out on the field.
Absolutely. At this point of the season, do you point out as far as specific players the way they've improved throughout the course of the season? And have you seen some guys over the course of the year? I mean, guys like K. O'Neal really kind of jump off the screen as far as his improvement, but some other guys that have improved overall?
Well, we have several guys. First of all, this team probably in the last 6 years is probably one of the most positive teams that I've coached, as far as the mental aspect of it. We hadn't had a lot of negativity. We had great participation and kids showing up. Normally when you lose, you find out the true character of some of your kids, and some of them tend not to want to show up, or you have some that want to quit, because you're facing a little adversity. But I've been pretty fortunate. I had 59, and I've only had 2 that actually have left the program, by choice, and it's just, I'm proud of the kids for that, because it's easy to quit. Everybody can participate and ride along with you as long as everything going the way they want it. But you find out the true measure, the true character of a child, and what they're being taught when they face adversity,
Absolutely, that's good stuff, and really learning life lessons along the way. Season finale is coming up next week in Week 10. The Anderson Bulldogs will close it out at home. We'll preview that game against Fort Payne next here on the Bulldog Blitz. Final game of the season is Anderson and Fort Payne. Coach, this is a game really for the last few years that you like to schedule and get a good opponent to end off your season.
Well, we generally try to schedule a tough opponent to kind of get a true measure of where we are going into the playoffs. And unfortunately, we didn't make the playoffs this year. But, Fort Payne is a tough team, tough 6A team, and we're just looking forward to playing them.
Absolutely. They're also an opponent that I would think that when you go on the road, it's obviously home and home. In this game, you got it at home. When you do go on the road, it gives you a good feel, and it gives your players a good feel of what a true playoff opponent kind of team will look like.
Right. Well, Fort Payne has been in the playoff the last couple of years, I believe, and just a tough team, and we went up there last year, and they were pretty solid. I coached with Coach Ellis in the All-Star game together, and he and I, we pretty good friends, and he does a great job up there with his program. So, he's been there for a while, so they kind of locked into the system.
Absolutely. A lot of teams that you'll hear in college football when they talk about getting ready for bowl games, and really what that bowl game is kind of a springboard to the upcoming season. How much of this game for some of your younger guys will be treated that way?
Well, I told them last week that Aniana and Fort Payne were our playoff games. After we lost to Hope's Bluff, I knew that, a lot had to happen in order for us to get in. Mathematically we were not, but, I told them we would use these 2 games to determine, evaluate younger players and, just to see where we truly have grown in certain areas, as a team, and they responded well.
Absolutely. Seniors, at this point of the season, you start to feel it, whether you're on a playoff team or whether it's the final game of the season. You start to feel that you're going through all these things for the last time. How will you treat this week for your seniors who are, will be putting on the pads for the final time this week in practice, and then suiting up for the game Friday night?
Well, as far as the seniors, we'll treat practice the same as we always do, but, a special week for the seniors, and as you mentioned, I kind of elaborate to them that, for some of them, it'll be the last time they ever play in a high school football game, unless you make the all-star team or something like that. Mm-hmm. But, you try to let them seize the moment, let them understand, because I told them Friday night, they'll always remember the last game. Last time you go in that locker room and take those shoulder pads and that helmet off, you'll remember it, good, bad, and different. So you want to try to have a good memory of your season. You don't want to sour it, and, because I tell them, hey, when you're 35, 45 years old, if you had a bad moment, you're going to remember it. You think it go away, but it don't go away, and I tell them that. You need to try to make it the best that you can. And, of course, it'll be senior night, so, we got a lot of festivities lined up for them.
Absolutely. You touched on it earlier about the preparation, and you said you're going to keep it the same. Talk about that aspect of it and being able to keep them focused on the game, their final game of the year.
Well, we're going to go in. We're watching film. Actually, Sunday evening, we'll watch film like we typically do, and then Monday we'll go right back to practice like we do. We'll prepare and just do the same things that we normally do. You know, it won't be fun day or party, anything like that. And, you know, we're going to, you know, I'm going to coach the last game like I did the first game, and, you know, everything stays the same, and then we'll go out Friday and play the same way.
This Class 4A Region 5, we've really talked about it all year long, just how tough the region is, how much more improved everybody is as well. And as we took here a look at the region standings, it's one of those situations where, just like last year, really just a couple of games, really you can pull out a couple of quarters that separate you guys in the postseason.
I mean, it is. I mean, and it worked out just like I told the guys, you know, because they hear a lot of things on the outside. But basically, you know, had we won against Hoax Bluff and won against Aniana, you know, we would actually been in a three-way tie with those two teams, and we would have finished third place and had an opportunity to go to the playoffs, you know, but unfortunately we didn't win the games. But you can see right there, even, you know, Sacs first place team, you know, I think we held them to 19 points.
Right.
And that's as low as they ever been held, you know, and I actually think we had an opportunity to beat them. But
exactly.
That's how tough the region is, you know, and, you know, somebody has to win and somebody has to lose, and unfortunately we were on the other side of it this year.
Yeah, exactly. And you talk about a game like Sacs, you were in the red zone, I think six times in that game, and it really kind of speaks to on the upper tier of the way you guys play, and you're up there with just about everybody in the state.
Right. You know, we actually, the touchdown we scored against Sacs, you know, was a big play, but you know, we actually got in the red zone 6 times versus their 3. They capitalized on 3, and we missed 6. So, you know, that's the difference in the game. And as a coach, I have to find a way, you know, to convince the athletes that, you know, we got to take advantage of those red zone opportunities, you know, and that's just part of the growth on their part. And with me, you know, trying to find ways, you know, and actually going to clinics and talking to other coaches, trying to find out methods that they use to get the players to capitalize on those opportunities.
Absolutely. With your coaching staff, and this is also the final week for them, talk about some of the things that you'll do with them this week. I know you're getting prepared for a final game, but coaching staffs, I mean, you spend a lot of time with each other throughout the course of a week and throughout the course of a season. We talk about being able to be with those guys for that final time this week.
Well, we'll do the same thing that we normally do, and then the following week, you know, I have another meeting with them, sort of a group evaluation meeting, and then, you know, at the conclusion of the season, probably 2 weeks from now, I'll start having individual meetings with each coach, and, you know, just kind of touching bases on what direction they want to head in, and what direction I need to head in as a head coach, and what we need to do as a team, you know, for us to be better next year, because we got a lot of good players coming back next year, and the kids holding them together, you know, making sure that they stay eligible, they got the grades and things that they need to do, and then of course having them lift weights and, you know, throughout the season they stay strong and just work on some of the things that we need to do to be better next year.
Absolutely. Coach, best of luck to you. Friday night, Lot Busby Memorial Stadium is the season finale. Anniston and Fort Payne should be a good one. Go out and support the Bulldogs on senior night for 2017. That's it for the Bulldog Blitz. Join us next week. We'll break it all down and look ahead to 2018 here on TV 24.